Hello, hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this confession show. I hope you're doing very well, wherever you are. In the next few minutes, I will be talking about my personal experience as Benjamin, and especially on this story that I put there on the caption, which is in a form of a question. Have you ever been unable to continue studying because of lack of funds? So I want you to listen to my story. Some of you knew me recently. Others have had this story before. And because I have you as first timer, I want to reshare this story with you. And I hope that this story will inspire you. A few days ago, I said I will be starting a confession show where both men and women will come live through my channels and share their stories, a part of their life that people do not see or do not know. And I hope that from my first story as the first episode of this session, others will open up and begin sharing their stories. So I welcome you here in the next few minutes to share this video, tag a friend, and listen to my story. I was very lucky to go all the way from studying from the kindergarten, going to primary school, and up to high school level. And then I had a chance to continue my studies from high school to go to college. And when I was admitted, just 1 year before I got admitted to the university, my father lost his job. He had to go through an early retirement. And that was very heartbreaking. I remember every single moment when he came back home and shared his news to me, especially as the firstborn, and told me and the rest of us that he can't go on working. He was working as a public servant. At that time, I was so young. I didn't know anything. I didn't see it as something serious. You know, being a child and a teenager, I thought he was just telling me a story. I didn't pay attention to what he was telling me. But the truth is, one of the things that inspires a man is the ability to provide and to protect his family. Once he is not able to do that, it breaks a man completely. Any man who is serious about life, about family life, protection and provision for the people that he cares for are very important. So he came home beautifully, and then he said, "Hey, I have some news. I want to tell you something." A very funny old man. He said, "I'm not going to continue working. I'm going to be staying home with you guys." So me and my younger brothers, we didn't understand what exactly he was saying. But because he could see that I'm the firstborn and this thing was so big for him, the following day he called me and we had a walk. And then he began explaining to me what had just happened. He told me that the government had decided to retrench or to fire the public servants because it cannot afford paying them salaries. And then he told me that he's not going to be going to work, but hopefully, he said, hopefully, I hope that I will be able to take care of you guys. And because I was so much interested in knowing so many things about what he was telling me, I could feel the pain in him. Even though I was 16 years old, I could see the pain and the disappointment losing his job at that specific time when all of us needed his help. And then that was it. So there is no more job, no more money, just a little money that he was given as what is called a golden handshake. Just a thank you for working for the government. Thank you so much for being here with us. But we are for this early retirement, and we wish you well in your life. That was 1 year before I finished my high school. The little money that he had, which he received, helped me to complete my high school. Then I went to study to college. When I went to college, my father kept on telling me that I am so sorry, my son. The money is not enough for you to continue your studies. But I hope that we will get enough money so that you can complete, and then you can help us as the firstborn together with your siblings. So I went ahead. I went to college the first year, very determined. Even up to that time, I thought that things were okay. You know, when you're a child, when a parent says that he has no money or she has no money, as a child, you don't understand it. You don't believe in it. But now that you're a parent, if you're watching me and you have become a parent, for the first time you begin to realize that when you wanted money from your parent, and now that you're a parent and your own child wants money from you, it is very serious, and it's very hard to tell your son or your daughter that you don't have money. So I went on with my study. The first year was good. College life was nice. If you've ever been to college, you're lucky to go to college. It's a very nice experience. First time not wearing uniform and having the freedom of nobody waking you up so early. I was so lucky to go and do my studies, evening classes that I used to go from 5 p.m. To around 11 p.m. So I couldn't wake up very early in the morning. Very nice feeling. First time to have a girlfriend. First time to to just enjoy life, drinking alcohol, smoking, just acting like most college students do, and doing things that most of them do. So the first year, honestly speaking, as a private student, and that meant that I had no support. I had no loans, student loan, or I had no means other than somebody sponsoring me, and this was my father. This was my family taking care of my education. So after the first year, I was studying 2 semesters in 1 year. So the first semester was good. Then the second semester, when my parent kept on saying there's no money, I started fearing about my continuation of studies. I started being worried. And when I moved to second year of my studies, the studies the first 1 semester took 4 months. So in my second year, the 4 months when I was studying, every time I remembered what my parent was telling me, there is no money for you to continue studying. But he couldn't tell me that you need to stop studying because there's no more money. But now I was in my second year, the first semester, 4 months has ended. The 5th month I was going to do my exams. And the process of registering for exams needed any student to complete the school fees. So in short, you couldn't sit for your exams if you hadn't completed your studies. And I remember that specific month, I kept on pressuring my father and asking him why. why don't you have money? You know, just being a child, why can't I study? I'm your son. I said so many bad things and bad words. I wish I could take them back away from my mouth. So I started blaming him and feeling like he had failed as a father. And, every time I was blaming him and trying to accuse him or feeling like he's disappointing me, I didn't know he wanted to explain. He wanted to really explain to me as his son that he cannot be able to do all these things at that moment. But I can imagine the pain he was going through, and being the father who cannot be able to help me to continue my studies, I can imagine the pain he was going through at that time. But I didn't know about it. I came to realize it later on, years later. For me, I just wanted to study. And I wanted him to help me to study. So that second year, just a few weeks before the exams, I met some of the students who are going through the same situation, and one of them gave me an idea. He told me, Benjamin, why don't you lie that you have paid your school fees? Make fake receipts to prove to the university that you have paid your school fees, and then do your exams. And then later on, if they catch you, you will pay, and then you could have done your exams. I thought about it. I was so desperate. I was so depressed. I was so sad, And the worst part is my classmates who remember my story or who are together with me, they always saw me as a serious guy, very determined in class. And when there were assignments, I was trying to help them. They knew that I was a very serious person. Some of them didn't know exactly where I was coming from or if I had this problem of school fees. They didn't know about it. But I was a very quiet guy, but very focused with my studies. Even though I was still enjoying the college life, drinking, smoking, playing around, just like any other college student. They didn't know it. They couldn't see it. And so the classmate who told me this idea of making fake receipts, I decided to do it. I got one of the receipts which I had paid for my first year of university, and I changed the number 1 to number 2 to make it to be second year of my university. Just to lie that I'd paid my school fees. One day before the exams, I had so many doubts because the university knew so many students were doing the same game, changing the receipts and having fake receipts. They had announced that if they caught you, you would be arrested and you will no longer continue studying. They had even involved the police, so it was a very serious case. That night, on Monday, before the exams, I knelt down and I started praying, praying. I remember I knelt down in my room in the hostel and I just knelt down, just say, pray. I pray to God, God, you know my story. You know my pain. You know my frustrations. I am going to sit for these exams today, this coming Tuesday. You know that I have not paid school fees, but please forgive me. I am lying. I am cheating. Help me to sit for these exams. Make the people who are responsible of checking and confirming the receipts and payment of fees not to catch me. That was my prayer. And I prayed it to God. Live in God if you're a Christian. And then I went to sleep. I couldn't sleep anyway. So the whole night I was just moving around, tossing around in the bed. I was trying to revise for the first exam, but at the same time, I was very worried, what if I was arrested? So everything I was studying, I was just studying. I'm trying to cram, to memorize every little thing. Everything. I was just trying to memorize, and everything was telling, there's this voice which was telling me, Benjamin, Benjamin, what if you're arrested? What's going to happen? That 1 week before the test, before the exam, it was very high. I lost so much weight. And I felt so sad about myself, you know. I hated myself. I hated my family. I hated my father. And I felt really bad that I can't go on with my studies. I can't sit for these exams just because of school fees. So that night I was trying to revise, trying to memorize everything. And all the time the voice is just telling me, Benjamin, don't do this. Just be honest. Go and tell the university that you cannot continue sitting for these exams because you haven't paid. I woke up in the morning. I wanted to eat breakfast, but I had no appetite. Obviously, I had no appetite. So I went all the way to the university. I entered into the exam room confidently, but my heart was really beating. So I remember that day when I was entering into the exam room, I saw the other students seated. I think there were more than 70 students, my classmates, all of them, seated waiting to do the test, do the exam. So I entered and I sat on my desk, and I was just looking at all of them. So I began asking myself, these guys, these classmates, is anyone in the same situation as me? It was a very bad feeling. It was one of the worst feelings to sit in that room, and I knew that I am not supposed to sit for the exams. So I sat there. The exams were supposed to start at 9 a.m. I was there at 8 a.m. I sat there, and you know, the one of the worst things about life is pretending that everything is okay. Then if you're blessed like me, I like smiling. You have a beautiful smile. The other classmates were asking me some of the questions they were anticipating in the exam, and I was responding to them. I was smiling. I was acting cool, calm, and collected, like a guy who had no issues, no problems. I had my fake receipt in my pocket, my pen, my clipboard, and just waiting for a miracle to be allowed to sit for the exams. So I kept on smiling. Then I kept on going to the toilet. I remember I kept on going to the toilet because I was so nervous. I went to the toilet more than 5 times. Go to the toilet, I can't pee, I couldn't pee. No urine coming out. But all the time I was just holding, crossing my fingers. Let no one arrest me today. So I came back to the room, 9 a.m. Then this lecturer comes and says, hey, I am going to do the check. If you haven't paid your school fees, I am going to see if anyone in this room is faking it and is not allowed to be here. Remember, there are police officers outside to do anything in case you resist or you try to act as if you have paid fees and you haven't paid. So I sat there, and this lecturer starts moving. Start from the right, the first guy who was seated at the door. Moves around, check the receipts, confirms everything is okay. He says, you're good. Keeps on going. I was in the middle row, seated in the middle. So the lecturer was moving around. My heart kept on beating. I was like, man, Benjamin, why don't you just stand up and go away? Why don't you just leave the room? Because eventually you're going to be arrested. It's simple. Then I started feeling so embarrassed, like my classmates are going to know that actually I'm not supposed to be there. What will they say? Even the crush, the college classmates, the ladies who are there, that I had a crush on them, but I was so shy I couldn't even talk to them. I said, if they knew that I was seated there and I haven't paid school fees, what were they going to think about me? Then I said, I'm going to sit and wait. So I sat there, the lecturer came. And when he came, he looked straight into my face. And then he asked me for my receipts. Took my receipt from the pocket, I gave it to him. Fake receipts. He looked at them and then looked at me. He looked at them again and then looked at me. And he asked me, Benjamin, are these receipts genuine or they are fake? One voice told me to say, yes, they are genuine. Another voice said, just admit they are fake. Eventually, the voice that was powerful for me was to admit that they were fake. I looked at the lecturer's face. Then I started crying. I just told him, these receipts are fake. I couldn't be able to pay the fees. Allow me to sit for these exams. Please, just allow me. He looked at me, and the first thing he said, I have shared this story before. He said, if you think education is cheap, you shouldn't be here. Education is expensive. If you are poor, this is not the right place for you. That's what he told me. I remember his words very well. And then all the classmates, the ones who were in front of me and the ones behind me and the sides, looked at me. Wow, Benjamin, of all the people, Benjamin, that's what this lecturer is saying. Even the papers that they had given us before sitting for the exams, you know, the answer sheets where you write your answers, those papers were there on the desk. So what the lecturer did, he got the papers and decided to tear them. He tore them and threw them on the floor. And he said, hey, stand up. You have 2 minutes. If you don't walk away from this room, I'm going to call the police. Because the reason why you're here, it's a crime, number one. And number two, you are lying to me and to the college that you have paid fees and you haven't paid. I'm going to call the police. So walk away before I call them. Those first few steps, you know, when I stood up, it was like a slow motion movie, you know. Have you ever watched a slow motion movie of a sad movie? It's like a horror movie or a very sad story. And then you stand and then you look at everyone like this. I looked at my classmates. I turned around and then I was crying. The tears were coming down. Then I started walking and going out. I walked all the way. It was the distance from my desk to the door was very short. But even my legs, I felt so heavy to walk all the way up to the door, just to walk away. Because I knew that was the end of my life. So I walked away, then I turned one more time, I looked at the lecturer, I looked at my fellow classmates, and then I stepped out. I saw the police. There were 2 policemen outside with guns. They didn't know what was going on, so I just looked at them and then I decided walking away. So I went and I sat somewhere where students used to sit. Idle students. We used to call it jobless corner in my college. It was a jobless corner. So I went there and I sat there. So I sat there and the exams started at exactly 9 o'clock. So when I sat there, I started thinking, why me? You know, why Benjamin? Why me? Why can't I do this exam? Why couldn't the lecturer allow me to sit for these exams? Just this school fees that I cannot be able to continue doing these exams, because the pain that I had at that time is the stories that I had from other people, other students in the same university, the ones who could not continue their studies. They stayed home for more than 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. So for me, I knew my life had come to an end. This is it, Benjamin, this is it. If you can't sit for these exams, that is the end of your life. I sat outside there for 1 hour. I kept on saying, I wish I can go back, or I wish the lecturer could come and just look around and see, oh, Benjamin is seated here. Let me allow him to go and sit for these exams. Nobody came to talk to me. No one. Other students who were going to their other exam rooms. I was just there alone. Then after 1 hour, because I hadn't slept the whole night, thinking and being worried, I passed out. I just slept. I just slept like this on my knees. Then I slept. Deep sleep. The next thing I had was one of my classmates tapping me. Hey, Benjamin. So I woke up and I was surprised. Where am I? And he tapped me and then he asked me, Benjamin, why were you chased away from the exam room? What did you do? So I wanted to tell him the truth, but I just told him, I will explain to you later. That's the time I woke up when my classmates had completed their exam, 3 hours later. So I stood up and then I went to my hostel, couldn't eat. So I asked one of my senior students, I was in second year, so I asked the third year, when this happens, what should I do? Like looking for advice. And then he told me, hey, you need to write a letter, tell the university the reason why you can't be able to sit for the exams, and then promise them that you will come back later on so that they keep you in the register. The best part is my roommate at that time, when I was in that university in the hostel, had gone through it. The funny part is he had gone through the same pain, but I was so confident about my life and I didn't know the pain he was going through because he never told me. He couldn't continue with 1 year for studies. He went back home. I remember he went back home, left me to stay in that room for 1 year. I didn't know the experience. Honestly speaking, I didn't know. And now here I am. I was going through the same story, the same situation. And he came through and he said, hey, when I asked one of the other students, what should I do? And said, write a letter, handwritten letter, saying, this is the reason why I cannot continue to study. Tell them you will come back after 1 year if you will get money, and give this letter to them. They will keep it in your file. That is the time my roommate was coming back from home after 1 year. He helped me to write that letter. I couldn't write the letter by myself. He got a pen, a foolscap, and then wrote that letter. I, Benjamin Bogonko, cannot be able to continue with studies because of ABCD, and I hope that after 1 year I will come back again. He helped me to write that letter. Then I took it to the academic staff. I gave the letter, and they put it in my file. So the next few days was the process of going back home. And I have to go back home. I can't go on with studies. Why am I in the college? I didn't even have the money, the transport costs, the fare to go back home. And it was so sad that I was looking for fare to go back home, and my classmates were continuing to doing the exams. They were still doing the exams up to that time because the exams were going to go on for 2 weeks. So after 1 week, I was looking for money to go back home. There was no even money from my family to allow me to go back home. And then I asked one of my former schoolmates in high school. I told him my story. Very, very, very good guy. I told him, hey, bro, this is what has just happened to me. I'm not able to continue with my exams, and I'm going back home for 1 year. But I don't have transport money to go back home. He told me, go to my cousin's office. He is a banker. This is the bank's name. Go there and say, I have sent you. Tell him it's his cousin who has sent you. So in the morning I woke up, I went to that bank. I entered there, and luckily I met my former schoolmate's cousin. And he asked me what's going on. I told him exactly what was going on. I couldn't go on with my studies because of school fees. So he asked me, what should I do for you? And then he said, I told him, I just need money to go back home, the bus fare. He asked me, how much do you need? Then I told him this is the amount, and then he gave me the money. Very nice guy. Gave me the money cash, and then he looked straight into my face and he told me, Benjamin, this is not the end of life. I wish you knew my story. When you see me in this bank as the manager, I have a story. It's only that you don't know me. My cousin knows me, and probably he doesn't know my story. This is just bus fare. Go back home. But remember, everyone has a story. Things will be okay. Don't be too stressed. Even when he was saying those words, they didn't make sense to me. You know, for me, I was so stressed out. I was so tired of life. Even walking away from the bank with the money to go back home, I almost got knocked by a motorcycle. My mind was not on the streets. I swear to God, if I didn't die that specific day, because I knew now that I have the transport fee to go back home, my life was finally, what will the people say at home? What about my cousins? What about my uncles, my aunties, and everyone? What are they going to say about Benjamin? That's what I was thinking at that time. And then I was walking, and then this guy is hooting the motorcycle, tiddy, 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 so many times, but I couldn't hear. And then when I turned, the motorcycle was just next to me, and then he abused me. He told me, you're so stupid. You don't know how to use the road. What if I knock you down? What if you died? Who are you going to blame? And then I just looked at him. I said, I'm sorry. I am really sorry. My mind was not on that road at that time. I packed my bags, my clothes, and I went back home. In the bus, I was just thinking, what next? What is next for Benjamin? Now that I can't go on with studies, life is useless. It's meaningless. I worked so hard. I did very well in my primary school. Amazing. Secondary school. Amazing. Now in the university, I can't go on with studies. Why me? To cut the long story short, I went to stay with my grandmother. Amazing mother. The moment I arrived home, at her home, she hugged me. Deep hug. And this is why I always say, sometimes when people tell you very sad stories, they don't want anything from you. They don't want money. They don't want advice. They really don't want anything from you, but just a hug. COVID-19 came and stopped this thing about hugging. But hugging is powerful. Hugging can change everything. Just one hug, one close hug for more than 2 minutes can really change your life. And I want to encourage you, when you meet any person who shares their story, painful story, and you're seated next to them, sometimes you have no words to tell them. But the best thing that you can do, from my experience, what I went through at that time, is tell that man or that woman, stand up, come here. It doesn't matter whether you're manly, like these days there's toxic masculinity. I can't hug my fellow man. How can I hug a fellow man? Am I gay? It doesn't really matter. That is a human being. That guy is going through a lot of hell. Give him a hug. Give that lady a hug. And just stay there. Don't say anything. Don't give advice. Don't give fake promises. Just stay there. So my grandmother hugged me. It was the first, deepest hug I've ever received from a woman and from a grandmother. Deepest, genuine hug that I've never received for a very long time. And she told me, Benjamin, I love you. You're my grandson. We're going to figure out something. So I changed, and then I went to take a walk, like walking around where we were staying in my grandmother's area. Then I met some of my friends that we used to hang out around with when I was going to college. During my vacation, when I came back, we used to hang around together with them. So they saw me, hey, how are you? One of them just met me on the street and asked me, hey, Benjamin, you're back. Why are you home? So I lied. Of course, I lied. I said, I am here for a vacation. Wow. How long is your vacation? Then I told him that my vacation is going to be about 1 or 2 months.
Looking for royalty.
Pure lies, acting like everything is okay. Then I don't know how bad stories move. If you have never noticed, bad stories always move. Good stories don't move, but a bad story will always move very quick and very fast. Within even that 1 month, before 1 month was over, that friend knew that Benjamin could not go on with studies because of lack of fees. So everyone around there, my neighborhood, knew it, And then I had to deal with that stress. Then I started smoking, started drinking, just to cover up this situation. But I was smoking and drinking and hiding because I didn't want even my grandmother and other people in my family to know that I was doing it. Like you smoke and then you pretend that you don't smoke. You drink and then you pretend you don't drink. I was pretending all this time, a fake life, and then with a beautiful smile. But deep in my heart, I was regretting. I hated my family. I hated my father. I hated the government so much. Then I hated my other tribes. And that's why even in my shows that I've been doing on social media, I don't really care about people's tribes. Because even when I was now at home without studying, some of my former schoolmates who belonged to another tribe, I thought they were lucky because of their tribe. So I hated them. I hated their tribe. And all the time, I just felt so bad about so many things with bitterness. Then came Facebook. So all my Facebook posts were always about regretting, blaming, and abusing. I was thinking of anything that I could post is about bitterness and anger. But to make the story finally come to an end, I stayed home for 1 year. That 1 year when I was staying home drinking and smoking and hating life, if you ask me, did I contemplate committing suicide? Somehow, but it was not direct like I wanted to commit suicide. But there are times when I used to go and smoke and I was seated next to a riverside. There was a time I was asking myself, what if I jump, What if I jump into the river? And if I jump into the river, I can drown and I will die and everything will be okay, So I really don't want to admit that I thought about committing suicide at that time. But every time I used to go and I'm just smoking myself, I'm just smoking and feeling good about my life, pretending that everything is okay. Then I could see the river, the water was moving, and then I was like, wow, what if I jump there and just die? But I didn't do it. And that's why I'm doing this video here today. After 1 year, my father was very lucky that he had bought a land somewhere. Then he sold the land and got the money that helped me to go back and complete my studies in the university. When I went back, the students I was together with in second year, they were in third year. So I had to go back. No, when I was, I couldn't continue in second year. So the students that I was together with, they moved to third year, and the third year I stayed home for 1 year. So when I was joining to complete my third year, all of them had gone. So some of the students that I used to see, they were second year, now they were together with me. So I joined them in the class, and I felt really bad about it. Walking around, I was just looking at them. Wow, these guys, they used to be my juniors, you know, that feeling. But I did my studies, I completed, passed very well, and the rest is history. The reason why I did this show here today again is to remind you that everyone has a story. And as I said from the beginning, when you look down here on the screen, I'm calling this Deep Confessions show. That I want to use my platform and the numbers that I've gotten from you who has decided to follow me and to listen to me, to like and follow my comment, to be there on my social media platforms, to help others understand others. It is okay to share your story. You have no idea. And if you are moved by this story today, I want to encourage you that you can share your story. You can reach out to me. You can send it to my inbox. We'll talk about it. But I want to do these shows by having you on camera to share that story. If it's somebody who has conned you, if it's abuse, if it's a loss of a child. I've lost a child before. I've talked about it, you know, loss of a mother, father. I just want your story to touch someone's life the same way I've spent these 40 minutes to speak to you as you're listening to me. And that is my goal. Confessions. In these confessions, people will cry, people will regret, but even to share these stories. Now, maybe you have just watched me again today. You have been watching me smiling and posting pictures and doing the videos. Then you're like, wow, this is a very happy guy. He looks like he comes from a very rich family. No, you know, it's just social media. I've even done shows or videos just to tell you that social media, people don't say what they are going through. People don't post their stuff here. People don't wake up like you ladies. You don't wake up in the morning and post a picture just after you've woken up. A few ladies do that. My majority have to be careful about the picture that they are posting. You can take even more, so many pictures and pick one or two. Social media is like a TV. And in any TV, the programs are edited. The programs hide what exactly is happening behind the scenes. That's what social media does. But I want to break that part of hiding. The people who pretend that everything is okay, posting stuff. You are a man posting your wife and your children, but you're going through hell, you know? So you're lying to so many people, including your family or your kids who are not in social media, that everything is okay. A celebrity posting and saying everything is okay. It is not okay. You have so many followers, but you're going through hell. We are human beings. And all of us, if not all of us, we are going through something that is affecting us. And I want my platform to be a channel where a man, a woman, regardless of where you come from, so long as you're willing to share your story, let your story touch another woman. Tell another woman that I have been there. I was used. I was abused. I lost a child. I lost money. Somebody conned me. Somebody used to beat me. I had a cheater. I didn't know that I was going to get a man for the rest of my life. But here I am. I met a man here on Facebook. We are happily married. I want those stories. So if you are touched with this story that I shared from the beginning, those who are just joining, please watch and repeat. Come to my inbox, share your story. You have no idea. Even your own family members have no idea. When my mother watches and listens to this story, she is always surprised. This is not the first time that I've shared this story. I shared it because I'm beginning this show, The Confession Show. She knows my journey because she is my mother. She knows when I couldn't go on with the studies and what happened between her and dad and all the drama that we went through as a family to get to this moment. She knows it. But when I share this, I am sure she's very proud of me. And I'm not sharing it to expose my family in a bad way. This is the truth. It happened to me. And some of my college mates follow me. They know it. In second year, I didn't continue studies with them. They know it. They graduated, and then I went back later, and then I graduated. And that's what I want you as a viewer to do, to share that story. Come to my inbox, let's talk, and let's do shows together. Thank you so much. I hope my story has inspired you. And whatever you're facing right now, I have no idea. You could be in a foreign country or in your home country. It doesn't matter. What I believe in, sometimes I look at Facebook, I look at these social media platforms. I see most people are spending much more time on social media, especially if you're not really looking for money or making money and you're not a celebrity. Most of us have a story, So it's like a scapegoat. You use this platform to run away from the realities, from the sadness, from the past, from the mistakes that you made. So you're here pretending and acting like everything is okay. And I totally understand that. I am there. You are there. But even if we are trying to run away from our past and past mistakes, our stories can influence others, can change people's minds, can bring back hope to them. And I hope my story brought hope back to you. When you see me smiling, when you see me looking like this, I quit smoking many years ago. Because that time, even the pictures, sometimes I post those pictures when I couldn't continue with my studies. When you look at those pictures and my current pictures, you can see two different people. Sometimes even people comment and say, you don't look the same. I don't think this is Benjamin. Because I was so stressed out, drinking and smoking. I really looked very old. And when I look at those pictures, sometimes I feel so sad. But then again, I feel good about them. This was a journey. But I'm so lucky that I moved away from that life. And now I'm in a different life. You can do it. You can be the same. And I don't want you to give up. At the end of the day, I really, honestly do not want you to give up on anything that you're doing. Anything whatsoever. Business, relationship, family life, talking with your family members that you can't talk with them, where you're working, looking for money, raising your child. I really hope you do not give up, because you have come a long way. Whether it's 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, you have really come a long way. So it's no need for you to give up now. Keep going, keep pushing. People are going through a lot of hell, and you're not just one of them. It's only that people have not shared their stories. And I hope my story and the next people who will come to this channel and share their stories, They will remind you that yours is not even worse. For you, you are very lucky. Others are going through hell, or they are about to face the hell. Thank you, and thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me. From me, Benjamin, I wish you nothing but the best. God bless. I love you, and take care. See you soon.